we suddenly realize, oh, right. I can't do it by myself.
Thanks for listening to Guidance in Recovery. I'm Keegan Read, and every week I speak with guests to honestly explore recovery, sobriety, the struggles that come with it, and find things that help us in our recovery journeys. On today's episode, we're speaking to Amy Vincze. She is a certified tapping coach and the visionary founder of the Soar with Tapping app. We're speaking about chakras and the shadows that they can carry and how we can move through them to actually better ourselves.
So yeah, this is the third eye chakra. The shadow for this one is like illusions. It's like
Ooh.
denying that spirituality exists, denying that there's more than this earthly plane. Just being in a state of not being able to imagine a future for yourself, or things that show up there on a physical level would be like poor memory, ability to, let's see, lack of imagination, poor dream recall, things along those lines.
Okay, interesting. So being stuck in the matrix. Got it.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Huh.
And then, do you have any questions about that?
I think one of the things that my father used to say, or not used to say, he didn't really talk about it until much later in my life. But he said that his family, like, I guess we all have our third eye kind of open a little bit more so than like most people or something. And I know for me, I've had super vivid dreams ever since I was little and have great dream recall, and I can do lucid dreaming. I just usually choose to let the dream take me along for the ride because it's funner that way.
Yeah, I love
So,
it. I love it. I've always longed for that. I don't have that ability.
oh man, sometimes the dream, it's really weird. Like I've had some really weird dreams.
Yeah.
But if the shadow side is the illusions, or like not being able to see the future for oneself, that definitely played a part in my addiction because I didn't see a future for myself. There was no hope. There was no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Definitely. Definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one, I'm going to have to listen to the telepathy tapes and see what that's all about because that sounds really interesting.
I hope you do. It really goes down a super deep rabbit hole. It was a little hard to kind of stay with it in the beginning because they focused so much on just the details of proving that it was true that these kids could actually communicate telepathically, that it was a little bit cumbersome in the beginning because they had to, be as meticulous as possible in order to be accepted out in the scientific world. So if you get through those kind of first few episodes, and then later on it goes way down a deep rabbit hole. But they also talk about having a telepathic relationship with animals, and God, it's just so cool. It just really opened my eyes, especially about the nonverbal community, because they have a spirituality that is far surpasses us. And we judge them because of what their physicality looks like. They are far more advanced than we give them credit for.
Yeah. Oof.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And and the kids often give messages and things like, there's a reason that there are so many autistic kids right now, and it doesn't really have anything to do with what's happening environmentally. It has to do with being able to help the people that are here on the planet at the moment kind of reach, heal in different ways and reach new levels of spirituality through their example.
And yeah, I can definitely see that. And I mean, that's one of the things, we as people, we like to have that solid proof. We have to have like this understanding of like, well, I can't see it, so it doesn't really exist, or does it?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I can see why the tapes had to do that deep, cumbersome rabbit hole at
Yes.
first.
Yes.
And I can definitely see why that like nonverbal community can definitely be the next stepping stone that we need, or they're so much further ahead because whenever like you look at a lot of different cultures in the world, they'll have like meditations or days where you go without speaking, where you're supposed to do self-reflection, and it will make you think different. It will make you kind of sit there and reevaluate, put a new perspective on things. And spirituality is one of those that it's super individual, but there is something like there's still that meat to the bone, and
Mhm.
everyone is so part like I think people are just too focused on the hair, like what does it look like,
Yes.
instead of like it's just there.
It exists. It doesn't hurt,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that leads us next to the crown chakra, right?
Mhm, mhm. Seventh chakra is up on top of our head, and if that little soft spot on babies that tends to be the last thing that closes up is our connection to the universe. So it makes sense that that's the very last thing that closes up on a baby, um, and that's kind of our ability to have a bigger perspective on our lives than just the kind of day-to-day details. It's the ability to see um, the truth of the universe, to be able to connect with the universe on a spiritual level. And the shadow side is, again, kind of the same thing, which is just shutting ourselves off because we don't have that perspective at all. The people that are so adamant about denying anything that's woo woo or anything that's woke, doesn't have that the balance in their seventh chakra by any means, unless they've come here for some higher purpose that we are not aware of, and they're
Mm.
one for the team. I
Oof.
really feel like because it's a tough call, and it's not my call, so I try to avoid it. But yeah, so it's our ability to connect on a higher level and to see things from a different perspective and to not always look at what's at face value, but to just trust that there is a bigger vision for ourselves and for our life. And it's um, much more meaningful than we imagine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. And I can see where the shadow side of that came into play for myself in
Mhm.
addiction, because it's just totally not there. It's like, oh, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's weird thinking back to it too, because it's like, as I've come along my own like journey, I think that sin, quote unquote, is more or less the disconnect from ourselves, the disconnect from divine, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And that's where we really go wrong, is sitting there saying like, I've got the ropes, I can do anything and everything all on my own because I don't need anyone else's help. No, nothing. And like, I know what I'm doing today, and it's like, yeah, you don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes, bud. So calm, hit the brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I think this is a really difficult one for people to grasp. I feel like religion kind of convolutes the issue the majority of the
Hmm.
time. But so many people go down that path that only looks a certain way. And I think it takes a time to
Hmm.
an experience on the planet and through experiences like addiction that we arrive at this place where we suddenly realize, oh, right, I can't do it by myself, and I don't have to,
Hmm.
thank goodness. Um, but yeah, I feel like we've been again led down a perilous path because of religion, and I think we're on the path to getting back to the place where we recognize the authentic power of that connection
Yeah.
instead of money and
Hmm.
physical, in our physical world kind of power
Hmm. Yep.
instead of personal
I
power. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. Religion, it, I someone said it that it's needed in a way because people need that framework if they don't know what to think of.
Sure.
And I can understand, I can get that, but
Yeah.
at the same time it's like you shouldn't have to shame people into staying in a box whenever they start asking questions,
Yeah.
whenever they want to learn different
Yeah.
perspectives, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And thankfully, programs like AA and NA, they all have created community around kind of a different kind of spirituality. And I think
Mhm.
that that has been one of the biggest catalysts towards getting people towards an authentic connection with a higher
Mhm.
power.
Yeah, for sure. In Don't get me wrong, there's still some people that let their shadows run their recovery program and definitely don't let other people ask questions outside of the group or whatever, but
Right.
that's
Right.
its own group.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And everybody still has their shadows.
yep. Yep, and it's learning how to integrate those shadows, which is difficult at the same time, but I guess that's where tapping comes into play, right?
Absolutely, because you can work on any one of these things that we've talked about. Like I said, you're going to get the most bang for your buck when you start at the bottom because the physical chakras are 1, 2, and 3. The heart is in
Mhm.
the center, and then the spiritual chakras are 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
So starting at the bottom is the best place to go. That is where you're going to make the most progress at the fastest rate. But it is going to affect all of the upper ones as well when you're doing that work. The minute you
Mm.
start letting go of fear, you have a whole different perspective and maybe your third eye tends to open a little bit more when you get a different perspective on life. Like life doesn't have to just be about staying safe.
Yeah.
It can be about living and finding a comfort in being in this physical body
Mhm.
while doing spiritual work.
Yeah. That oof.
Yeah.
That makes uh I think you hit one of those things that not a lot of people well, I guess we've kind of talked about it here, but for myself personally, learning how to be safe back in my own body and say that hey, this physical existence is fine. Like we're going to have to go do things. We're going to have to talk to people. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
We don't have to be a hermit crab all the time, you know?
Right. Right.
It's like, damn it, safety.
I know.
But I feel like safety is just another one of those things that we've kind of been programmed into, and it's not for safety. Sometimes I think that the outside forces, it's called me conspiracy theorist, but safety is sometimes just a control mechanism that helps keep people from asking questions or being empowered, being themselves. So,
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways we've been overfed fear so
hmm.
that we get to that place. But for women in particular, I think that we have lived I think the world is unsafe, and some places more than others,
Hmm.
on a physical level. So it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little
Yeah.
bit of both.
That is, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Real quick, where can people find you and your website if they're looking to get a little bit of help with, like, if they want to ask you questions?
Yeah, you can ask me questions. You can email me, Amy at soarwithtapping.com. That's
Okay.
SOARWITHTAPPING.com. Or you can just go to my website. A lot of that information that we just talked about on the chakras is already there. And the ability to email me if you're interested in private sessions or um, there's links to the app too, because all the stuff that we talked about is available in tapping scripts already made for you on the app.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, so quick recap on the chakras. There's seven, and start with the root, then go to the navel, and then the sacral, then the solar plexus, then the heart, right? And then throat, third eye, and crown.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you said navel and sacral. Those are both the
Oh.
same thing.
Oh,
So
okay. That's why I counted to 8.
root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. What would you say is one of the harder ones that people usually have a hard time with tapping out?
I think it's the root.
Root.
And the root, and I think the root needs to be consistently worked on.
Mm.
Because that, well, along with all the other ones, they're always in flux. It's always kind of something like I think it should be part of a daily practice to do whatever you need to ground yourself in your body and do whatever you need with tapping to regulate your nervous system, which is also part of the root chakra. And you might continually have to do that through the day while you are working on the deeper core issues. And like I mentioned in the beginning, the deeper core issues get less and less over time, but there's always more work to do around them. So I think you're going to be returning to fear over and over and over again. And the guilt and the shame that go along with it are easier to dislodge once you can recognize that that's what you're experiencing. But it all needs to be addressed.
Gotcha. Yeah. There was a saying that was told to me at the beginning of my rehab, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever. And it was, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I was like, no, why? Like, if you get, and it's kind of a paradox, but it's a lovely one, because if you are somewhat uncomfortable, it means you're in new territory, you're learning things, you're trying different things. But if you're in that comfortable phase or state, then you can become complacent and you don't move forward and you start like shrinking, I think.
Yeah.
So interesting.
If there's anything you fear in life, whether it's social anxiety or marketing yourself, like have problems with, then you know that there's something to work through. And the minute you step outside of your comfort zone, it's going to feel super scary. Even if you have worked through a bunch of this stuff, because you haven't taken that step yet, that step is still going to feel scary. But you have to remind yourself that it's not going to be scary forever. My comfort zone is going to get bigger the more I do this new skill, whatever it is. The more I market myself, like my fear level is going to go down consistently as long as my experience with it goes up. And so that is always the best lesson for me, that it doesn't have to continue to be scary. I just have to keep being willing to dip my toe outside of my comfort zone and keep trying, no matter how small that step is, no matter how insignificant it might feel at the moment, looking from the outside in. It's a big step for me, and I'm going to give myself kudos for that and tons of compassion. And then I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to keep doing it. I might get really comfortable with it and decide I still don't like it, but at least I'm not afraid of it anymore.
No. Yeah. And I think that's a really powerful statement too, right there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people, myself included, kind of trip up a lot of the time, because it's not a tangible thing. It's not something that, like, going to the gym every day, you can actually start to see results after a few weeks or a few months. But if you just sit there and you work on your fears and stuff, it's like the only person that's going to really see that at first or feel that is you.
That's right.
And if you keep beating yourself up, then you're never going to make progress. But I don't know. It's so strange, because I think that we are our own worst enemies.
Always.
And that saying is it just holds more water the more I've learned this whole healing kind of aspect, because it's like, and I have to find compassion and grace for myself, because it's like, I know that there's that question of like, well, where would I be if I had been softer or been my own best friend sooner? But I can't beat myself up for doing the things that I had to do to get where I'm at. I'm the person that has to touch the hot stove to learn that it's hot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're exactly where you're supposed to be at this minute. And so am I. Even with all of
Yeah.
my still existing shadows, I'm still exactly where I'm supposed to be, and that's okay. I have to keep reminding myself of that too. Like I'm 50, I'm 56 this year, and
Woohoo.
I know I still think about, God, if I had just known this when I was like 35, what a different place I would be in now. But I can't, that's illogical thinking. It,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help me one bit. And so when I get to the place where I can remind myself that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, then it feels better. It feels like it couldn't have happened any other way. It feels like I have
Mm,
arrived in this place at just the right time.
mm, yeah. Ooh, I love that.
Hmm.
And kind of like you said, we don't really arrive, but whenever we find ourselves comfortable back in our own body and what we're currently experiencing, I think that's whenever everything kind of starts to pay off.
Hmm.
That's whenever the whole like eureka moment kind of happens, and then
Yeah.
you break through a shell, and then you're on to the next comfort zone, whatever that may be.
Yep. 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 There's always something right behind it too. Damn it.
Yeah.
I was telling my coach the other day, I'm like, can I just coast for a while? Like, I really would love to just coast. That would be lovely.
Hmm.
Lovely.
Yeah. But
No such luck.
uh
That's okay.
yeah. I guess that just depends on where you want to end up going in the long run.
Right.
Uh, and I don't know about you, but I've spent way too long in my own shadows and letting them have the reins, and it's just not fun.
No,
Not fun.
no. That's a lot of suffering there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are near the end of this. Well, getting near the end of this episode. So, whenever someone finds themselves in addiction, they find themselves in substance addiction or process addiction, they have shadows that they need to deal with. They need to tap it out.
Hmm.
And you help people with this kind of stuff, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. There's a video on the app that tells everybody the steps that they need to take in order to get there. Um, And if you want to do individual work getting you to that place, then I'm available for that as well. But you can just do it on the app and it really mirrors exactly what we've talked about here. It starts with working through the fears and then working through all of the areas that you might feel guilty in life
Oof.
and then your sense of self. Those are the big ones.
Oof. The sense of self.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm still figuring myself out, and it's kind of weird where I end up sometimes.
Yes. I agree. Yeah.
Amy, do you have any last words for the audience this evening? Because it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you back on, and I look forward to having you back on in the future. Because if we just went this deep into chakras, I would love to figure out something else with tapping or how we can utilize the chakras. Because I don't know about you, but I got a lot of learning to do. I'll never stop learning.
No, I'm in the same place. No, of course, I would always love to come back. You're a great conversationalist, so anytime.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Sweet.
I don't know that I have anything else to add other than I just really encourage people to try tapping, try going down that road. It's going to be uncomfortable at first, just like we talked about stepping outside your comfort zone, because most people aren't used to honoring and acknowledging their emotions. That's something that we normally hide away from everybody, including ourselves. So it feels uncomfortable at first, but the better you get at it, the easier it is. And I start to crave it now because I know the relief that is on the other side. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, it's better than food cravings, which I'm. Yeah.
I think for those people that are having a hard time getting out of their comfort zone whenever it comes to acknowledging their own emotions and stuff, I would say to kind of find a role model for someone that is unapologetic in who they are. Because that is one of those things that, like, if I had a role model in that sense, it would have made me think a little bit different. But I was struck with that people pleaser stuff, and it just I didn't have room to be myself in that world. So no. So find a role model.
We all did what we needed to do to survive, and there's no shame or problem in that. And then now it's just time to let go of it.
Time to let go.
Yeah,
Let go and go with the flow.
that's right.
Well, Amy, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure, like I said, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. And everyone else out there, thank you for listening to Guidance in Recovery on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, try to love yourself. Love others if you can, but you gotta try to love yourself first. Be your favorite version of yourself today if you can. And if you're having a mental health crisis, you can dial 988 or text 741-741. And if you're in the LGBTQ plus community, you can dial the Trevor Project up in Canada. And we'll see y'all in the next one. This has been Amy. This has been Keegan. And we'll see y'all in the future. Much love. Love.